Welcome to episode 5 of the Game Caddie tutorials. I'm Scott Moeller, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the Game Caddie's aiming tool to hit layup shots and to hit around trees. If you haven't watched episodes 3 and 4 on aiming and working the ball, please do so before watching this one. Okay, let's look at the layup tool. The APBA Golf Master Game Rules don't permit you to aim on second shots on par 5 holes unless you're going for the green. One exception to this is hole 14 at Birthplace, where the course notes say aiming is allowed on all second shots even if not going for the green or the ball is short-sided. How does the Game Caddie handle this situation? By using the layup feature of the aiming tool. Let's take a look at a specific example. We've got Colin Morikawa on hole 14 at Birthplace, sitting after his tee shot at 325, right 15 on the fairway. We see that the carry objective up here in the WI shot planner is 300, and the pin location for pin number 6 is at 620, right 15, which is a little ways off the center line. So with a carry objective of 300 and Morikawa having an average W of 5, we can see that there is virtually no chance for him to reach the green on his second shot. So the smart play might be to leave him in a position where he has a good angle for his third shot so that he can put the ball close to the pin and possibly birdie out on this hole. So if we look at hole 14, we can see that over on the left, which would give us a good angle, there is an area between about 520 and 560 that is mostly fairway, and there's a pretty good chance that we can hit it over to that target area by aiming 15 yards or so to the left. Now, we don't want to hit it too far and end up in those deep bunkers around 560, 575, and we don't want to come up short and end up hitting those deep bunkers around the 500-yard mark. So what we'll probably do here is go with a 2-iron to perform this shot. But let's go ahead and do the aiming part first. So what happens if we come over here and put 15 left into the aiming tool? Well, we get the red flag that we talked about in episode 3. And that's because we're trying to aim when we're short-sighted. And while the Game Caddie will allow you to do that, it doesn't apply the distance adjustments that you're supposed to use when playing the Master Game rules for aiming 15 yards or more away from the center line. The way that we easily overcome that is by clicking on the layup tool. All right, and that changes that N for no to a Y for yes, and we just now have to put the 15 back in there and watch what happens. No red here. We get an aiming distance adjustment of 5 yards, which translates to a 5-yard penalty of sorts on our carry objective. That doesn't matter to us. We're going to be able to hit the ball that far anyway, but it does affect our club. And in looking at the distance that we need to hit this second shot to put it over there in that target area, we probably need to clear at least 210 yards in the air, which is the 2-iron that I mentioned before. So let's just go ahead and click on 2-iron and take the shot. We roll, and Colin gets a 55 for his shot, and in the W column of his card, he has a 4. So we'll come down here in the fairway column under W and click on 4 and transfer that shot. And we see that that ball went 530, 10 to the left. We've landed in the fairway, so we apply 20 yards roll based on what we see here. And that puts our final distance at 550 left 10. There was no wind for this example and no course roll adjustments in order to keep things simple here. So we'll just go ahead and update, and we are in the fairway, and as you can see here from the approach caddy, we're 75 yards from the pin with a good angle. Worked just the way we hoped that it would. Okay, so that's how you use the layup tool. Now, this was one very specific example using birthplace. Some master game players believe you should be able to aim anytime your lie permits, as long as you are not going for the green. That's why this is called a layup in here. The only caveat is you can only aim to the opposite side of the center line from where your ball is. If that's not to your advantage, you can always work the ball instead. But how you play is up to you. The layup feature just gives you the ability to aim when you are short-sighted. Okay, so now let's look at how you hit around trees. We'll keep Colin Morikawa as our golfer, but put him on a different course and a different hole. We'll click on Magnolia here. We'll reset everything in the Game Caddy. Transfer hole number 7. We're going to keep the same day conditions. We're not going to have any wind or additional course roll to have to worry about for this example. And we'll click on Caddy 1 for Colin's Caddy tab. Okay, now what we need to do is put him in a position where he's blocked by trees for the purpose of this example. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him at 255 left 30, and we'll hit place ball, and that is still in the fairway, but as you can see, he's well behind that grove of trees there and does not have a clear line of sight to the front of the green. So how do we get out of this situation? How do we use the aiming tool to hit around trees? Well, it's really simple, okay? The first thing we're going to do is tell the tool, yes, we're trying to hit around trees in this situation. And what it does is it takes that 30 from down here, and because we're 30 left, it puts 30 right into where we're going to aim. Now, I know what you're thinking, you know, the master game players out there are saying, well, wait a minute, shouldn't that be a 60, right? You double the aim value. And you're absolutely right, and that's what the Game Caddy does internally, but what you see looks different from that for reasons that have to do more with the way the Game Caddy works internally, so we're not going to get too far into, you know, the whys and wherefores behind that. But you can be sure that it is doubling your aim if you look here at the aim distance adjustment, which is 20 yards. If it were not 60 instead of 30, this would say 10 yards for that aim distance adjustment. And you can see that that 20 yards is registered up here in the flight adjustment as well. So the ball would need to carry 225 yards in this situation in order to reach the pin center line. All right, now we can also see from the WI shot planner here that if we hit this shot and there's no additional right-left variation, we're going to end up 30 yards right of the center line, which is usually not a good thing when you're trying to reach the green. And in this case, it's really not a good idea because the pin location is 10 left, so we'd be a good 40 yards away even if we reached that pin center line. So we're going to play this slightly different, especially since that green is surrounded by a bunch of bunkers and you've also got some trees there potentially that you have to deal with. And instead of trying to put this shot on the green, what we'll do is we'll end up hitting it short of the green, but the way we're going to try to do it is hit it to the right side of the center line so that we have a good angle and a short approach shot for our third shot. Now, in order to counter this 30 right, we're going to need to put something down here to work the ball left. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a 20 in here. And when we do that, that changes the right CL up here to a 10. So again, if we have no additional right-left variation, we would end up 10 yards right of the center line. And the club that we're going to select to put that ball where we want it is a 5-iron. So let's come over here and roll. And he gets a 23 for his shot. And in the I column, Colin has a 5. So we'll come down here and we'll click on the blue box with a 5 in it because we're in the fairway. And for working the ball, he's got a 66, and he has a 3 in the I column for that. So we're working the ball to the left, so we'll not click on anything, but we'll look at 3 and come over here, and we see that we've got a 0 for the A column with the number 3. So we'll go ahead and transfer the shot. And we can put a 0 in or just leave it blank. It'll do the same thing, so we'll just leave it blank. Click on OK. And we can see now that the shot went to 405, right 5, and it rolled an additional 5 yards. Okay, so it did land in the fairway, and we will apply that additional 5-yard roll. That puts us at 410, right 5. We'll update that. We're in the fairway. And just as we had hoped, we've got a good angle for our third approach shot, which is 45 yards from the pin. Okay, that's how you hit around trees. Until next time, grip it and rip it.